First up, Dollmaster Dorian. Neutral legendary, 5 mana 2/6. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. This card needs to be activated 3 times or so for it to be worth it in terms of stats, assuming that you put this in a random deck. But of course, you aren't putting this into a random deck. You're putting it into a Death Rattle deck, or a Draw Specific Minions deck, or a Resurrect deck, or a Silence deck, or whatever. If this card is used properly, there's basically no downside. The catch is actually using it properly, since its effect isn't as simple as Barnes's. But if you put the time and energy into this card, it can become frighteningly powerful, and its wide range of uses makes it a creative card to play around with. This balance of creative power and needing the flexibility to use it makes this card good overall, but its use needs to be very selective. Secondly, Voodoo Doll. Neutral epic, 3 mana 1/1. Battlecry, choose a minion. Death Rattle, destroy the chosen minion. First off, love the design. If you don't think that this is the coolest card ever, you're wrong. And no one loves you. In terms of actual use, this card is very similar to Corruption. In most decks it actually accomplishes exactly the same thing. The weakness with Corruption and cards like Embrace the Darkness is that your opponent gets to react, either with silence or with sacrificing the minion, or whatever. This card, however, could be used in Mage as the equivalent of an Assassinate, or in Warlock if minion sacrificing ever starts to work, or even if it doesn't. The combo potential makes this card not just decent, but exciting. Though these combinations currently are still about on par with what we already have for removal, so I don't expect this card to be meta shifting. Just, good. Thirdly, Splintergraft. Druid legendary, 8 mana 8/8, Battlecry, choose a friendly minion, add a 10/10 copy to your hand that costs 10. A 10-drop edition doesn't add much in the ways of flexibility, but it's still an amount. This card will be good enough for Arena, but the question everyone is asking is, how valuable is that Battlecry at its best? Well, let's consider one possibility: Charge. Such a minion would be better than a Pyroblast. A 10/10 stealth minion would be similar, though not as impactful. Meanwhile, overlapping Charge and Windfury would be devastating, if Blizzard were ever crazy enough to print a card like that. Oh wait, they did. And this is all just cards with keywords. Other special effects can make this 10 mana card very powerful if used correctly. So this card is decent overall. An 8 mana 8/8 is still barely acceptable by itself, but unless you have a plan for this card, it probably isn't worth putting into your decks. Fourth, Toki Time-Tinker. Mage legendary, 6 mana 5/5, Battlecry, add a random legendary minion from the past to your hand. From the past means a card that is exclusively in Wild. No! So a 6 mana 5/5 draw card is perfectly balanced, so the question becomes how powerful the card in question is. The good news is, for every good legendary, there's an equal and opposite bad legendary. I think Isaac Newton said that. My point being, this card is as likely to give you something bad as something good, or simply give you a card that doesn't fit in your deck. Unlike Unstable Portal, which basically gives this random card for free, this card has more limitations with a higher cost, and no cost reductions. While this card seems lacking, a random legendary is typically going to be more valuable in Arena, so this card will likely be at home in that format. Well, Trollden, I look forward to seeing Dr. Boom show up in your compilations again. Next up, we have Mistwraith. Rogue Rare, 4 mana 3/5, whenever you play an Echo card, gain +1/+1. This card has similarities with Questing Adventurer, except instead of being able to gain atrocious power and being useless when not played right, this card is only sort of able to gain atrocious power, and is okay when not played right. 3 and 4 drops basically exist to be too strong to let live, and too weak to feel good about destroying them. This card is exactly that. Trying to destroy it is an annoying hassle thanks to that 5 health, while letting it live is an invitation for Echo shenanigans. With that in mind, this card greatly benefits from Echo cards, basically gaining up to +5/+5 from a single Echo card. It's a pity that Blizzard doesn't seem to like 1 mana Echo cards, else this could have gone up to +10. But hey, you can play this card with a 2 mana Echo spell and you can seriously buff it. Decent all around. Finally, we have Pickpocket. Rogue Rare, 2 mana spell, Echo, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. 2 mana Echo cards, how I love your variable mediocrity. But just how mediocre is this effect? Well, honestly, it's fine. Comparing with Hallucination, it's a little bit more random in its output, but being able to use this card multiple times makes up for that. This card can be 1 more mana than a Kabbalist Tome, or more mana can be spent on it, or less. The options and the synergies make it such that this card is decent, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Now go out there, Rogue, pickpockets, cheap shots, and destroy everything with your giant ghost. Just like Robin Hood, I guess.